Okay, so Edco A, and we're looking at question 13, which is an area, perimeter, and volume question. And specifically, it's a question about the curved surface area of a cylinder. So this question was actually asked on the 2008 Junior Cert Higher Level Paper 2. It's an identical question lifted straight from that. So I'm going to start by drawing just a little sketch of a cylinder. And what we're told in the question is the diameter, which is the distance from one endpoint of the circle across to another endpoint, that's 8 centimeters. And this is also the measure of the height. So the height is also 8 centimeters. When you're given the diameter in a question, it's important early on just to write down what the radius is. So the radius is half the diameter, and so the radius is 4. You can see here from the tables where we have a cylinder, a cone, and a sphere, they all use radius in their formula and don't use diameter. And so just early on in the question, just write down that the radius is 4. So very straightforward, we're going to write down the curved surface area of the cylinder formula. So if we look in the tables here, we have A is equal to 2 pi RH. A equals 2 pi RH. Now think of the 2 pi R as being the circumference of a circle. That's the formula for the perimeter, the circumference of a circle. And then we're going to multiply that by the height. And if you think about drawing the net of this shape, we would have the curved surface area folded out. It would be a rectangle. And the height would obviously, in this case, be 8 centimeters. But if we think of unwrapping the circumference and folding that out into our net, that's this piece here. And so that's where we get the 2 pi r. And so the area of a rectangle is the length multiplied by the width, which in this case would be 2 pi r times 8. And that's why the curved surface area of a cylinder is equivalent to that. So it's 2 pi r times h. Now, do we have to draw this out every time? No, not if we're not asked for. But just because it is a short question, it's nice to see where some of these things come from. So we'll fill in the measures that we're given. So we have 2 times pi. So we're going to use the pi button on the calculator as it's the most accurate. We could use values of pi 3.14. That's an estimation of pi. And sometimes we use an estimation 22 over 7. But where we're not given instruction as to what measure to use, we're better off just using the pi button on the calculator as it rounds it off to more decimal places. So we have 2 times pi times the radius, which is 4, times the height, which is 8. And I'm just going to give the answer in terms of pi first of all. So 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 8 is 64 pi centimeters, and area is measured in units squared. Now, if the question had said to give your answer in terms of pi, this would be the answer we'd write down, because this is the most accurate version of the answer, 64 pi. What we're going to do is we're going to take out the calculator and we're just going to find that to the nearest whole number we're asked to give the answer to, rather than a particular amount of decimal places. So we'll take out the calculator and we have, we could work from the start again. We could do 2 times pi times 4 times 8, and you'll see this will give us the 64 pi. Press the SD button to turn it into a decimal. We have 201.06, and remember we're asked to round this off to the nearest whole number, so that's going to be 201 centimeters squared. 201 centimeters squared, and that's all there is to that question. So no real tricks in it. They did give us the diameter instead of the radius, so we just had to watch out for that. Just be aware that in our maths tables, we don't have a formula in the maths tables for the total surface area of a cylinder. Now, it's not asked for in this question, but just to write down that the total surface area, well, what would that include? Well, obviously, the total surface area of a cylinder would include the curved surface area, which is 2 pi RH, but then it would also include the circle on the top and the circle on the bottom of the cylinder. So if you think of painting a cylindrical can, we would paint, obviously, the curved surface area, this piece here, but if we complete the net here, we would have a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom, and those would also have to be painted if we were finding the total surface area. Each of those is a circle. The area of a circle is pi r squared. We have two of them, so it's 2 pi r squared. So again, just be aware that on page 10 of your maths tables, you have the formula for the curved surface area of a cylinder, but for the total surface area, you'd have to add in a 2 pi r squared. And we could have a question where it's an open cylinder, and they could ask you for the total surface area of an open cylinder, which means that there is no circle on the top, let's say to be painted or whatever, and in that case it would be 2 pi r h, the curved surface area, plus just the bottom, 1 pi r squared. So just be careful of those little things.